Breaking news. Browns fans just released. This is a massive update coming straight out of Cleveland that is absolutely shaking up the entire NFL landscape as we gear up for the highly anticipated 2026 season. Welcome back to the channel, your ultimate home for all things Cleveland Browns. Before we dive into this absolute bombshell of a story, I want to give a massive shout out to our incredible community. Do me a quick favor right now, drop a comment below with your name and the city you are watching from, and I will make sure to give you a personal shout out in our very next video. Also, if you want to stay completely up to date with the latest, most exclusive Browns news, rumors, analysis, and breaking updates all year long, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Smash that like button too, because it really helps us bring you the best Browns content on the internet. Let us get right into it, because the quarterback situation in Cleveland is reaching a boiling point, and the headlines are absolutely exploding today. We are talking about none other than our young signal caller, Shedeur Sanders, who has just sent a very clear, very loud message to the entire league and to the Cleveland Browns front office. As the speculation and trade rumors continue to swirl like crazy around his future with the franchise, Shedeur Sanders decided to keep his latest public message short, sweet, and incredibly powerful. During the Browns' summer break, right before the team is set to report to training camp, Sanders took to Instagram to share a post that has the entire Dawg Pound talking. He posted a carousel of photos that mixed some incredible vacation shots with some intense, hard-hitting pictures of himself wearing the Cleveland Browns uniform. But it was not just the photos that caught everyone's attention. It was the caption. Shedeur put a United States Virgin Islands flag emoji and a single, highly confident word, legendary. That is right, legendary. This one simple word speaks volumes about where Shedeur Sanders is at mentally right now. He is not backing down. He is not hiding from the pressure, and he is certainly not letting the non-stop media circus get to his head. Even though his post did not directly address the rampant trade rumors that have been dominant in the sports cycle lately, the timing of this post is absolutely perfect. It landed precisely as his name continues to circulate in blockbuster trade rumors. And as Cleveland is incredibly tense, quarterback competition remains completely unsettled heading into the start of training camp. If you have been keeping up with the local media, things got really interesting recently when ESPN Cleveland is very own. Tony Rizzo dropped a massive report that sent shockwaves through the fan base. Rizzo revealed that there have been serious, active talks and ongoing phone calls regarding the availability of Shedeur Sanders on the trade market. According to Rizzo, the Browns, for whatever reason, might not believe that Shedeur is the ultimate long-term guy for this franchise. Rizzo made it very clear on his show, stating that there are talks and ongoing calls about Shedeur Sanders being available. He went on to say that in his opinion, the Browns do not think he is the guy. And even though the front office and coaching staff will publicly say that it is an open quarterback battle, Rizzo does not believe all four quarterbacks currently on the roster will actually make it to training camp together on July 28th. He noted that while nothing is imminent, the calls are actively being made, and he believes a parting of ways might actually be in the best interest of both parties involved. Now, you can only imagine how this report has completely split the Cleveland fan base. On one hand, you have fans who are absolutely furious that the front office would even consider trading away a young talent like Shedeur Sanders. Let us not forget, Shedeur is a guy who came in as a fifth-round draft pick and defied all the odds, stepping up to win the starting job as a rookie. He showed incredible grit, determination, and flashes of absolute brilliance that made fans believe he could be the future of this franchise. On the other hand, there are fans who look at the massive investment the Browns have made in Deshaun Watson and believe that Watson's experience and upside are still the team's best chance to win a championship right now in 2026. But despite all the noise, all the trade chatter, and the media speculation, Shedeur Sanders has spent this entire offseason doing exactly what he does best, working his tail off and closing the gap on Deshaun Watson. When the spring workouts began, Watson definitely had the upper hand. He entered the spring with a reported edge because of his extensive NFL experience and, of course, the massive financial and draft capital investment that the Cleveland organization has tied up in him. But if anyone thought Shedeur Sanders was just going to hand over the job and accept a backup role, they clearly do not know the mindset of this kid. Sanders came into OTAs and minicamp with a massive chip on his shoulder and did more than enough on the practice field to keep this quarterback competition wide open and incredibly fierce. In fact, the battle has been so close that offensive coordinator Monken had some very telling things to say after minicamp wrapped up. Monken admitted to the media that while he would have preferred to have more clarity and a definitive starter named by this point in the offseason, he simply was not ready to separate Watson and Sanders before the team officially puts on the pads for training camp. Monken explained that it would feel very different if he did not believe both quarterbacks were progressing at an elite level. But the truth is, Monken is fully convinced that both Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders are fully capable of starting and playing winning football for the Cleveland Browns right now. He told reporters that he is absolutely convinced of it, and if he did not believe it, he would say so. He made it clear that he cannot make a final decision right now because both guys have fully earned the opportunity to continue this heavy competition once the pads finally go on in late July. This is where things get really exciting for Browns fans. When you look at the leap Shedeur Sanders has made from his rookie year to now, it is truly remarkable. The coaching staff has been incredibly vocal about the specific areas where they needed to see growth from the young quarterback. Last season, as a rookie, Shedeur had a tendency to hold on to the football for far too long, trying to make the heroic play happen. This often invited unnecessary pressure, led to costly sacks, and resulted in negative plays that stalled out promising drives. But according to Monken, Shedeur has taken a massive step forward in correcting those mistakes. Monken pointed out that Shedeur is playing with much more decisiveness this year. Even though they have only been practicing in shorts and helmets so far, Monken noted that Sanders is making significantly quicker decisions, processing the defense faster and getting the ball out of his hands in a hurry. For an NFL offense to function at a high level, the quarterback has to be able to eliminate lost yardage plays and keep the team ahead of the chains. Monken emphasized that while Shedeur possesses incredible natural playmaking ability, his newfound ability to process information rapidly and get the ball out of his hands is going to be absolutely huge for the Browns' ability to stack successful plays together, sustain long drives, and ultimately score touchdowns, which is the #1 goal for this offense. So, where does that leave us with the trade rumors? Well, according to top team insiders, including the highly respected Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com, a trade involving Shedeur Sanders before the start of training camp is highly unlikely. The Browns front office is smart, and they know the value of having quality depth at the most important position in sports. Unless another team comes along and blows them away with an astronomical trade offer that they simply cannot refuse, Shedeur is going to report to camp on July 28th and get his fair shot. The more realistic window for a potential trade would actually open up much later in the summer. Once the Browns get a true, unfiltered look at both Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders in full pads, during high-intensity preseason games, and in joint practices against other NFL teams, they will have a much clearer picture. If Deshaun Watson ultimately wins the starting job and proves he can return to his elite form, the Browns will then face a massive decision. Do they keep Shedeur Sanders on the roster as an incredibly high-profile, elite backup quarterback? Or do they listen to the phone calls from quarterback-needy teams around the league who are desperate for a young, proven starter? Mary Kay Cabot pointed out that the Browns have certainly not ruled out trading Sanders at the end of training camp. In the NFL, everyone has a price, and the front office will undoubtedly listen to serious offers if Watson secures the starting job. But she also noted that Sanders is not the only quarterback who could be on the move. The Browns will also be keeping a very close eye on how the rest of the quarterback room shakes out. We have Dillon Gabriel in the mix, who is a highly intriguing option, and we also have our 6th-round draft pick, Taylon Green, whose development during camp could play a massive role in how the front office decides to manage the roster depth. If Taylon Green shows that he can be a viable developmental backup, it might make the front office much more willing to pull the trigger on a blockbuster trade involving Shedeur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel to accumulate future draft picks or address other areas of need on the roster. But for right now, as we stand here in 2026, Shedeur Sanders is a Cleveland Brown, and he is laser-focused on one thing and one thing only: winning that starting quarterback job. His legendary mentality is exactly what this team needs, and the competition between him and Deshaun Watson is going to make both players better and elevate this entire team to new heights. Training camp is just around the corner, and the stakes have never been higher for the Cleveland Browns. So, Dawg Pound, I want to hear from every single one of you on this massive situation. Do you think the Cleveland Browns should keep Shedeur Sanders no matter what? Or should they trade him at the end of camp if Deshaun Watson wins the starting job? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to leave your name and city for that shout-out. Go Browns!